Hi, I'm Erica Stice, and I'm the studio coordinator here at Halstead. Today I want to talk quickly about our economy rolling mill and also do a breakdown so you can learn how to change out the rollers. It's the perfect mill for people on a budget or just starting out in the business. If you're interested about ways that you can use a rolling mill, read our blog at blog.halsteadb.com. The article titled 5 Ways to Use a Rolling Mill, which is loaded with tips, and it also covers carrying and storing a rolling mill and includes potential problems which can be prevented by learning how to use it the correct way. For this video, I want to first tell you some technical details about this rolling mill. Now, this economy rolling mill includes 5 rollers, which is awesome. They are made from tempered steel and are polished to a mirror finish. They include 2 flat rollers, 2 wire rollers, which have round and V slots in them, plus 1 pattern roller with 2 different patterns on it. I have the flat rollers on the machine right now, but here are the wire and the pattern rollers. Now, they are 2 different lengths because the longer rollers go on the bottom and the shorter rollers go on the top. And you get 2 longer ones in the flat and the wire. And you also have 3 shorter ones, which are the top ones. And I'll show you more of that during the breakdown. A few other things that I want to add before tearing it down is that it weighs almost 57 pounds. But regardless of that, you'll still want to attach it to the bench. And it has 2 holes in the bottom of the base for the screws to do that with. It also has it has a 3-to-1 gear ratio. So when drawing plain sheet, it has a maximum of 5 gauge and a minimum of 26 gauge. And when drawing wire, it has a maximum of 5 gauge and a minimum of 20 gauge. So let me show you how to break it down. So the first part, I'll go ahead and take off the top of the mill, which is this upwards. And what you first want to do is you want to take your T-bar off. Now, the tools you'll be using during this to break this down will be a wrench, which comes with the machine. And you also might need a hammer to tap in the keys, and I'll show you that later on. But what you want to do is you don't have to remove these 2, but you can loosen them if you want to have better access to these. And I'll go ahead and unscrew these and lift the top off. Now I'm going to carefully lift the top off, and these 2 gears are on top, and place it over to the side. And I'll keep these screws with it just so I remember where they go, because you have quite a few little things to take off. And this is a really greasy machine, and that's a good thing. You want all your gears and every part of this to be greased up. It protects it from corrosion and stuff. So honestly, you're going to want to keep it greased yourself. You can keep the grease off the rollers. If you do get some on there, just use a clean rag and wipe it right off. But you will definitely want to keep this greased up at all times. And a storage bag over the top doesn't hurt, and that can be as easy as plastic. Now, you'll want to wash your hands. Some people use gloves when doing this, and that's fine. Whatever you want to do, you can use your hands or just use gloves. So now we want to make sure we lift this top one straight up. And now I've removed the top roller. And this side just comes right off, and that's fine. Now, you have 4 holders. You have 2 on each of your rollers. And these holders have a little hole in them, if you can see them, and that's to put oil. That's an oil hole, so those always stay upwards. So you can kind of put it like that so that you remember the hole goes at the top. Now, you'll want to unscrew this to take this gear off and then remove that holder. Now, inside of the gears, you have a little key that fits in the slot. And you want to make sure you keep track of these keys. They're really important because it holds it onto the roller itself in this slot right here. Now I'll go ahead and remove the bottom roller. So I'm going to put these to the side so I keep them separate. So these go to the smaller rollers. I'll go ahead and put these aside for now, so there's more work room. Now, to lift out the bottom one, you want to first take the springs off and put those to the side. You don't want to lose those. And now you're going to lift the bottom one out, and it has to be lifted out evenly. Now it comes with a big gear on it, and it comes with a screw on either end, so you'll have to remove those to break this down and change it out. Now when you go to put your roller back on, it's a reverse. It's a reverse of taking it off. So what you want to do is you want to go ahead and put this on, your holder on. Then you want to slip your gear on. Drop your key in. And sometimes that's why you might need to tap it in with a hammer a little bit. Sometimes it'll drop right in though. That's why it's important to keep everything well greased. Now, one thing to note after you put yours back on together is make sure that the slots on your holder are inwards, facing inwards. That's really, really important. They need to be in because that's how they hold into the mill. So that one's done. And remember, you want your tops, you want your holes for the oil to sit up top. So now you just drop it in there, and you have to make sure it's equal on either side for it to slip down. And that's why it's really important to have grease in here too as well. And over here and on all your teeth and all your screws. You want to make sure it drops all the way to the bottom and it's flush. Now's a good time to also grease this up again. Grease this. And all you have to use is a 3-in-1 grease that you can get from the store. Now you'll want to take your springs and place them right here in either one of these holes. Now let's put the top roller back together. Now remember, this side right here does not have a screw in it. It just sits like that. And again, remember to keep these holders this way with the lip going on the inside towards the roller. Oops. And on this, you're also going to want to have these two sticking up at the top. So slip that in equally. Now watch out that the springs don't fall out when you do it. They might fall out, and that's okay. Just put them back. See, one already fell. The springs just rest in there. Now you want to make sure you push down on it because you're going to put the top back on. So now you just take the top, and like I said, I kept the 4 screws on there attached so I would know. I'll go ahead and remove them now. Now you should never have to take these 2 off, but if you did, they just unscrew. Just easily. There's nothing at the bottom. And you just screw them back in. That's all it is. But to remove it, you don't have to bother taking them out. So that's kind of nice. Okay, now that you have the top back on your rolling mill, now you need to calibrate it. Now if you can see right here, we have the two rollers and they're at an angle. So the bottom one always lays flat, and this is spring loaded. So what you're doing is by moving these gears up here, you're bringing the top rollers down to the bottom one, which is stationary. And that's why you had the springs in between these two rollers. So what I want to do is before I put the T-bar back in, I want to go ahead and make these even so that it's starting out at equal distances. If I twist this, you can see it's pushing it down so that there's no gap between the two. And now they're even. And you'll have to do this every time you change out your rollers, or when you go to grease them and you remove them, and also sometimes when you're just working with it. You'll need to go ahead and calibrate it and make sure that it starts out evenly. So now that the rollers are together, I can go ahead and stick the T-bar back in. And you want to drop that down there, and that's as easy as that is. And now you can open it and it'll open and close evenly. So you're definitely going to do that a lot, and that's fine, that's normal. And that's how you calibrate it. So if you want to read anything more about it, remember you can look at our blog at blog.halsteadbee.com. And the rolling mill blog is called 5 Ways to Use a Rolling Mill. And like I discussed earlier, it's loaded with a lot of information too. So thanks for watching.